Today is Wednesday, January 18th, and you should be reading Mark chapter 13. And today I'm going to talk about some things that I found that were interesting in this chapter. And then I'm going to talk about things I learned about Jesus, what I learned about people, and finally a next step that I can take and you can take as well. And so right off the bat, the first thing I notice is verse 2, that when Jesus says, "Do you see all of these great buildings?" replied Jesus. "No one stone here will be left on another. Everyone will be thrown down." Jesus is making a point. The buildings, the things that are around us aren't going to last. They're not important. They're going to fade with time. We see that all the time. But following Jesus and believing in Him isn't going to fade. And we know that when we believe in Him, we'll get eternity in heaven. These things won't fade, but the buildings and our stuff, it will. It won't last. And I think that's just really good to remember and to hold on to. And this whole chapter is interesting because it's talking about, as the title heading says, destructions of the temple and signs of the end times. And so that leads me kind of what I learned about Jesus, where it says, at that time, people will see the Son of Man coming in clouds with great power and glory. We know that Jesus is going to come again. He will come back to earth after He dies. And He will have great power and glory, which is very different from right now where He's on earth and He does have power as you see Him perform miracles, but He also dies on the cross in a couple of chapters. And so we know that He's going to come back. It's almost a hope for after He dies, because we know He's going to rise again so that He can come back. And I love reading that. And, people, what do we learn about people? And it's like we like to know. We like to have knowledge and to know the answers, but sometimes we can't know everything. It says in verse 4, as some of the disciples are talking to Jesus, "Tell us, when will these things happen?" They want to know when the end times are going to come, when the temple is going to be destroyed. They want to know and have all of the answers. Who doesn't? I'm a planner. I like to know when things are going to happen, how they're going to happen. And so not knowing things, it's hard. But Jesus, He kind of reminds them in this is, you will know when the time has come for His second return. But other than that, don't worry. Live your life sharing the gospel, which I think really leads me into the next step for me. It talks about in verse 32, it says, "But about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Be on guard, be alert. You do not know when that time will come." When I read that verse, it really gives me a sense of urgency that I need to be going out and sharing the gospel more and more. And that's really the next step for me, is having that urgency in sharing the gospel, not thinking, oh, it can wait until tomorrow, maybe next time I'll talk to them about it, but talking to people about it now, not waiting, because it says we do not know the time or hour of the second coming, but it will happen. And so it just gives me this real sense of urgency and having to go out and do that more and more. And so now I'm going to read chapter 13. And so if you have other things that you need to be doing, or you've already read the chapter and don't feel like listening to it, feel free to take off. But if you want to listen to me read the chapter, stay on and I will get started. As Jesus was leaving the temple, one of His disciples said to Him, "Look, teacher, what massive stones! What magnificent buildings!" "Do you see all these great buildings?" replied Jesus. "Not one stone here will be left on another. Everyone will be thrown down." As Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives opposite the temple, Peter, James, John, and Andrew asked Him privately, "Tell us, when will these things happen? And what will be the sign that they are all about to be fulfilled?" Jesus said to them, "Watch out that no one deceives you. Many will come in my name, claiming, 'I am He,' and will deceive many. When you hear of wars and rumors of wars, do not be alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nations will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places and famines. These are the beginning of birth pains. You must be on your guard, and you will be handed over to the local councils and will be flogged in the synagogues. On account of me, you will stand before governors and kings as witnesses to them. And the gospel must first be preached to all nations. Whenever you are arrested and brought to trial, do not worry beforehand about what to say. Just say whatever is given to you at the time, for it is not you speaking, but the Holy Spirit. Brother will betray brother to death, and a father his child. Children will rebel against their parents and have them put to death. Everyone will hate you because of me, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. When you see the abomination that causes desolation, standing where it does not belong, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let no one on the housetop go down or enter the house to take anything out. Let no one in the field go back to get their cloak. How dreadful it will be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. Pray that this will not take place in winter, because those who will be days of distress unequaled from the beginning when God created the world until now, and never be equaled again. If the Lord had not cut short those days, no one would survive. But for the sake of the elect, whom he has chosen, he has shortened them. At that time, if anyone says to you, "Look, here is the Messiah," or "Look, there he is," do not believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. So be on your guard. I have told you everything ahead of time. But in those days, following that distress, the sun will be darkened, and the moons will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. At that time, people will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. He will send his angels and gather his elect from the four winds and from the ends of the earth to the ends of the heavens. Now learn this lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Even so, when you see these things happening, you know that it is near, right at the door. Truly I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. But about that day or hour, no one knows. Not even the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Be on guard, be alert. You do not know when that time will come. It is like a man going away. He leaves his house and puts his servants in charge, each with their assigned task, and tells the one at the door to keep watch. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know when the owner of the house will come back, whether it is in the evening or at midnight, or when the rooster crows, or at dawn. If he comes suddenly, do not let him find you sleeping. What I say to you, I say to everyone, watch. And until next time, you are sent.